Everyone says eggs are healthy. But what if, after 60, they're actually poisoning you, quietly, day after day? That's right. A food praised for its benefits could be harming your memory, draining your energy, and putting your heart at risk. And the real danger? It's probably happening right now, in your own kitchen, without you even realizing it. In this video, you'll discover how eating eggs the wrong way turns a superfood into a silent threat, and, more importantly, how to make it your greatest ally for healthy aging and a sharper mind. What you're about to learn, very few people are talking about, but it could change everything. For decades, eggs were seen as the enemy, full of cholesterol and dangerous for the heart. Then the narrative flipped, and eggs were hailed as a superfood. But for senior citizens, the truth is a little more complicated. After 60, the body doesn't work the same way it used to. What once gave you energy might now be harder to digest. The real question isn't just, are eggs good? But rather, are you preparing them in a way that supports healthy aging? Because the truth is, an egg can either be a powerful ally or a silent saboteur, depending on what you do in the kitchen. Most people don't stop to think about it. They crack an egg, throw it in a pan, add some oil, maybe pair it with bacon or toast, and they assume it's healthy. But here's the issue. After 60, your digestion slows down, your liver becomes more sensitive, and your arteries are less forgiving. If you're still cooking eggs the way you did at 30, your body may not be handling it the same way. And yet, many elderly individuals keep eating them out of habit, unaware of how the method of preparation could be quietly undermining their senior health. Think about it like this. If you had a powerful medicine but dipped it in grease and toxins before taking it, would it still help you? Of course not. An egg is no different. Its value lies in its nutrients: B vitamins, protein, choline, selenium, but high heat, bad oil, or burnt pans destroy all of that. Worse, those habits introduce harmful compounds into your system. What started as a nutritious breakfast becomes a daily dose of inflammation. And in old age, chronic inflammation is the slow fire that burns away mobility, clarity, and joy. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine two seniors, Margaret and Helen. Margaret eats 2 soft-boiled eggs with steamed spinach and a drizzle of olive oil. Helen eats 2 fried eggs in reused soybean oil with white bread and margarine. Both are eating eggs, but their bodies are receiving completely different messages. Margaret is feeding her brain and protecting her heart. Helen, unknowingly, is feeding fatigue and inflammation. This contrast is the key to understanding why so many senior citizens feel tired, foggy, or bloated after a meal they think is healthy. So, no, it's not just about the egg. It's about the oil, the pan, the side dishes, the timing. All these small decisions add up, especially in old age when the body needs more support and less stress. For healthy aging, nutrition has to be intentional. That means choosing preparation methods that enhance the egg's natural benefits rather than destroy them. It means avoiding toxic combinations. And most importantly, it means listening to your body's changing needs. What worked before might be hurting you now, and the kitchen is where you can start taking back control. Take a moment to reflect. Are your eggs helping or hurting your well-being as a senior? If you're still making them the same way you did 20 years ago, it might be time for a change. And the first place to look isn't your fridge, it's your frying pan. What happens next in your kitchen could be the turning point for your energy, digestion, and mental sharpness. But there's something even more dangerous than the way you cook your eggs, and it has to do with what you're putting into that pan. It might sound extreme, but many senior citizens are quietly poisoning themselves every morning, and they don't even realize it. The culprit? Not the egg itself, but the way it's being cooked. What should be a nourishing meal turns into a slow-acting toxin when the wrong oils come into play. The real danger isn't the egg, it's the habit of frying it in reused oil, margarine, or low-quality fats. That sizzling sound in the pan might feel familiar, even comforting. But the smoke, the residue, and that strong smell are warning signs. Especially in old age, when the body loses its tolerance for toxic overload. The liver, your body's detox center, slows down with time. And when senior citizens cook with unstable oils like corn, soybean, or sunflower, especially at high heat, those oils release harmful compounds like acrolein, a known irritant and potential carcinogen. These byproducts burden the liver, inflame the gut, and increase oxidative stress. Over time, this daily exposure to toxic fumes and degraded fats begins to take a toll. You may not notice it right away, but it shows up as fatigue, brain fog, poor digestion, and even cardiovascular issues. All from that harmless fried egg in the morning. Let's take a closer look. Reusing oil that has already been heated once or multiple times is one of the most common mistakes made in the kitchen, especially for elderly individuals trying to save money or avoid waste. But each time oil is reheated, its chemical structure breaks down further. It becomes more inflammatory, more unstable, and more dangerous. And the truth is, senior health is too fragile to keep taking those daily risks. What may feel like just a little oil is actually building a slow storm inside your body, one that affects your heart, your joints, and your mind. And there's another overlooked detail: the type of pan you use. Scratched nonstick pans or old aluminum cookware can leach harmful materials into your food when overheated. Switching to stainless steel, glass, or ceramic isn't about being fancy. It's about protecting your long-term health. When you're focused on healthy aging, even small upgrades in your kitchen tools can lead to big improvements in energy, digestion, and well-being. The kitchen, for senior citizens, isn't just a place to cook. It's a frontline defense for your vitality. Now here's a better approach. If you want to keep enjoying eggs, switch to healthier methods. Soft boiling, poaching, or gently scrambling eggs in a small amount of olive oil or avocado oil helps preserve their nutrients while avoiding toxic compounds. You can even try steaming eggs or baking them in a muffin tin with chopped vegetables. These small changes reduce your exposure to free radicals and support your liver, brain, and gut. It's one of the easiest but most overlooked tips for a longer life. And it starts with rethinking what you're doing at the stove. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you actually looked at your cooking oil? Is it fresh, stable at high temperatures? Or is it a cheap option you've been using out of habit? In old age, the margin for error shrinks. The way you cook your food can either help you thrive or quietly wear you down. And speaking of wear and tear, what's inside the egg, specifically one nutrient, could either support your brain or slowly disrupt it. The next part of this story might surprise you. Most people have no idea that eggs are one of the richest sources of a nutrient called choline, a true brain booster. For senior citizens, choline is vital. It supports memory, attention, and mood by fueling the production of acetylcholine, a key neurotransmitter. That's why eggs are often praised as brain food. But here's the catch. In an aging body, choline doesn't always act the same way. Under certain conditions, it can be converted into something harmful. Yes, a nutrient that should support cognitive function can turn into a silent threat if the internal environment isn't right. This shift happens in the liver and gut. When choline isn't properly metabolized, it can be transformed into TMAO, trimethylamine N-oxide, a compound that's been linked to inflammation, heart disease, and cognitive decline. And who's most vulnerable to this process? Elderly individuals with poor gut health or sluggish liver function, conditions that become increasingly common after 60. So while you might be eating eggs to nourish your brain, the reality is, without the right internal balance, you could be feeding brain fog, fatigue, and long-term decline. That's a scary thought, but also a powerful wake-up call. Think of your body like a house with old electrical wiring. You can't overload the circuits without risking a breakdown. Choline is electricity, but it needs a system that can handle it. In a well-supported body, choline enhances focus and protects neurons. But in a system overwhelmed by processed foods, medications, or inactivity, that same choline becomes a burden. This is why senior health isn't just about what you eat. It's about whether your body is prepared to receive and process what you give it. Otherwise, even the best foods can backfire. Let's make it practical. Say you're a 70-year-old taking antacids for reflux, eating little fiber, and experiencing slow digestion. You start your day with 2 eggs, hoping to support your brain. But your gut microbiome is unbalanced, filled with the kind of bacteria that convert choline into TMAO. Without realizing it, you've just created an internal trigger for inflammation and brain fatigue. Now, picture a different version of you, one who includes fermented foods like kefir or sauerkraut, adds fiber-rich veggies, drinks water, and walks after meals. In that body, the same eggs nourish the brain. Same food, different outcome. That's why gut health is the hidden gatekeeper of brain health in old age. If the intestinal environment is thriving, with diverse bacteria and strong digestive function, choline becomes a blessing. It supports memory, protects blood vessels, and keeps mental fog at bay. But if the gut is sluggish, inflamed, or overwhelmed by processed food, then even healthy nutrients can be misused. For healthy aging, it's not just about adding superfoods. It's about creating the right terrain inside you. And that starts with small, daily choices: more fiber, fewer processed carbs, fermented foods, and regular movement. So the question becomes, are your eggs fueling clarity or confusion? Are you supporting your brain's natural repair systems, or loading it with the very toxins that accelerate decline? Senior citizens deserve more than guesswork. And the good news is, once your gut is restored, eggs can return to their role as brain protectors. But this balance depends not just on what's in the egg, but also on when and how you're eating it. Because believe it or not, the time of day you eat your eggs may be influencing your health far more than you think. Here's something most people never consider. When you eat, something matters almost as much as what you eat. That's especially true for senior citizens. As we age, our body's natural rhythm, called the circadian rhythm, becomes more sensitive. Our digestion slows, hormone release shifts, and energy patterns change. So, while eggs may be a healthy food, eating them at the wrong time could be sabotaging your well-being. For example, eggs in the morning might fuel clarity and strength. But that same egg eaten late at night, it could be setting off a cascade of issues you'd never expect. During old age, the digestive system becomes slower and more delicate in the evening. The stomach produces less acid, the intestines move sluggishly, and the liver takes longer to filter what you eat. So, when a senior eats eggs at 8 or 9 p.m., thinking it's just a light dinner, they're asking their body to do heavy work at the exact time it needs to rest and repair. The result? Poor sleep, bloating, indigestion, and even nightmares or mental confusion the next morning. And it's not the egg's fault. It's simply a mismatch between the food and the body's natural timing. One common mistake among elderly individuals is having a late-night snack that includes protein and fat, like scrambled eggs with toast, thinking it will help them sleep. But that kind of meal activates digestion when the body should be winding down. Instead of deep, restorative sleep, you get a restless night and wake up feeling foggy or exhausted. Over time, this disrupts the body's natural rhythms and accelerates aging. Many senior citizens believe they're simply getting older, but what's really happening is chronic internal stress caused by late-night eating. And the morning isn't always perfect either. Eating eggs right after waking, on an empty stomach, can also backfire. Why? Because after a night of fasting, your digestion needs a gentle wake-up, something light to signal it's time to work. Jumping straight into eggs and coffee may overwhelm the system. Instead, start with a warm cup of water with lemon, a soothing herbal tea, or a small portion of fruit. Then, 30 minutes later, introduce your eggs. This approach supports senior health by easing the digestive system into action, rather than slamming it into overdrive. So, when's the best time to eat eggs for healthy aging? Late morning or early lunch tends to be ideal. Your metabolism is fully awake, your body is better equipped to digest proteins, and the nutrients from eggs are put to good use. Pairing eggs with greens, whole grains, or avocados at that time of day not only boosts absorption, it helps with satiety, mental sharpness, and energy throughout the afternoon. Timing is everything, and when your meals align with your body's needs, it's one of the simplest, most powerful tips for a longer life. Now think back to your week. When did you eat your eggs? Was it at night, hoping for a quiet sleep, or first thing in the morning with coffee and toast? If you're like most senior citizens, timing probably wasn't something you considered. But now that you know the impact, you can take control and give your body what it truly needs when it needs it most. But there's still one more piece to this puzzle, because what you eat with your eggs may be the most toxic part of all. Sometimes the danger isn't in the food itself, but in what's sitting next to it on your plate. This is especially true with eggs. On their own, eggs can be a nutrient-rich addition to a senior's diet. But pair them with the wrong side dishes, and you've got a recipe for inflammation, fatigue, and long-term damage. Bacon, margarine, white toast, sweetened coffee. Sound familiar? For many senior citizens, this is the classic breakfast. It's nostalgic, comforting, and easy to prepare. But the truth is, this combination could be one of the most harmful meals for anyone over 60. Let's break it down. Bacon is packed with saturated fats and nitrites, which have been linked to increased inflammation and cardiovascular risk. Margarine is an ultra-processed food filled with trans fats, known to damage arteries and trigger insulin resistance. White bread spikes blood sugar levels, leading to energy crashes and fat storage. And sugary coffee overstimulates your nervous system while weakening digestion. Each one of these items alone is concerning, but combined with eggs, they turn a potentially healthy meal into a metabolic storm. For elderly individuals, this kind of combo is like pouring fuel on a slow-burning fire. The sad truth is, this meal feels harmless. Many seniors grew up with it, so it's tied to comfort and routine. But over time, it contributes to bloating, joint pain, brain fog, and weight gain. And worse, it builds silently, one breakfast at a time. By the time symptoms show up, most people assume it's just old age. But in reality, it's chronic inflammation and poor food pairing wearing down your system. In healthy aging, it's not only about avoiding bad foods. It's about understanding how the wrong mix of foods can turn good ingredients into harmful ones. Now here's the hopeful part. Changing these combos can completely shift your energy, mood, and digestion. Instead of bacon, try sautéed tomatoes with oregano or steamed spinach with olive oil. Replace white toast with sprouted or fermented whole grain bread. Swap margarine for avocado slices or a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Add a few walnuts or chia seeds for brain-healthy fats. These changes may seem small, but they add up quickly, supporting the well-being of seniors by reducing inflammation and boosting nutrient absorption. Let's make it even more practical. Picture this breakfast: one soft-boiled egg, half an avocado, a small bowl of steamed kale with garlic, and a slice of whole grain toast with olive oil. Add herbal tea instead of coffee, and you've created a meal that energizes your brain, supports your heart, and keeps blood sugar stable. This isn't about deprivation, it's about empowerment. For senior citizens, these smart substitutions are one of the best tips for a longer life, and they don't require pills, diets, or fads. Just awareness and a little creativity in the kitchen. Lastly, remember that taste buds can evolve. At first, healthier food might seem bland, but after a few weeks, your palate changes. What once tasted too plain becomes delicious, and your body responds too. Better sleep, clearer thinking, less joint pain. It all starts with one decision: choosing combinations that help, not hurt. Because the truth is, you can't keep blaming age for how you feel. If every day you're feeding the problem. And if you've made it this far, you're ready for the final and most encouraging part of this journey: how eggs, when treated right, can protect your heart and sharpen your mind. Here's the good news. Eggs can be one of the most powerful tools for healthy aging, when treated with the care they deserve. The problem isn't the egg. It's the way it's too often fried, burned, or buried under processed side dishes. When prepared properly, eggs become a source of high-quality protein, essential fats, and brain-protective nutrients like choline and B vitamins. In old age, those nutrients play a vital role in preserving memory, supporting muscle strength, and improving mood. It's not about avoiding eggs. It's about learning how to bring out their best. So what's the best way to eat them? For most senior citizens, the safest and most beneficial methods are boiling, poaching, or slow scrambling eggs in a small amount of olive oil. These methods preserve the egg's nutrients without exposing it to harmful compounds created by high heat or reused oils. It's also important not to overcook the yolk, because that's where the good stuff lives. Soft, golden yolks are full of heart-healthy fats and brain-protective vitamins. When handled gently, eggs become one of the most complete foods for senior health, naturally balancing your hormones, metabolism, and focus. Portion and frequency matter too. For most older adults in good health, 1 to 2 eggs per day, on alternate days, is a sweet spot. Going overboard can stress the liver or raise TMAO levels, especially in people with compromised gut health. But balanced, moderate intake, within a diverse, whole food diet, makes eggs a long-term ally. Combine them with leafy greens, healthy fats, fermented foods, and fiber-rich carbs, and you've created a plate that fights inflammation, strengthens your heart, and protects your memory. That's not a trend. That's one of the most reliable tips for a longer life. Want a few easy ideas? Try a boiled egg with sautéed kale and a slice of fermented rye toast. Or a poached egg served over a warm quinoa salad with olive oil and herbs. Even a veggie-packed omelet made with mushrooms, onions, turmeric, and flaxseed can be a game changer. These meals aren't just delicious, they're protective. They offer well-being for seniors without any pills or prescriptions. And best of all, they're simple enough to make at home, on a budget, in less than 15 minutes. Longevity doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to be thoughtful. Another reason eggs matter in old age: they help regulate appetite and reduce unhealthy snacking. When you eat an egg-based breakfast with the right pairings, you feel satisfied longer. That means fewer cravings for sugar and processed foods later in the day. For many elderly individuals, managing appetite is key to controlling blood sugar, blood pressure, and energy dips. So, by using eggs strategically, early in the day, with smart sides, you're not just feeding your body. You're managing your metabolism, supporting your brain, and easing the burden on your organs. That's senior health in action. In the end, it's not about strict rules. It's about small, smart shifts. How you cook your eggs, what you serve with them, and when you eat them. These are choices that shape your aging journey. Senior citizens deserve meals that heal, not harm. And eggs, prepared right, can be one of the most healing foods on your plate. But none of this matters if we don't take action. And the real question now is, what will you do with this knowledge? Because knowing the truth is one thing, but living it is where the change begins. Now be honest. How many times have you eaten eggs thinking you were doing something good for your health, without paying attention to the oil, the sides, or the timing? For senior citizens, those little choices matter more than ever. In old age, your body isn't asking for perfection, it's asking for awareness. You don't need to give up the foods you love, but you do need to give them the respect they deserve. Because at this stage in life, every bite you take is either building you up or slowly breaking you down. So what will you do from now on? Will you keep making the same mistakes? Or are you ready to turn your kitchen into a space for healing and strength? Let me know in the comments. What part of today's video surprised you the most? What's one change you're going to try this week? Your story might help someone else make a better choice. That's how we build a community of wiser, stronger, more independent seniors, one habit at a time. And if this video made you think, inspired you, or gave you clarity, don't leave without subscribing to the channel. Here, we talk about real solutions for healthy aging, practical steps for well-being, and simple tips for a longer life that actually work. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, because your health deserves more than hope. It deserves direction, it deserves wisdom, and it deserves your full attention now more than ever.